Ms. Gigaba, you then go on to deal with meetings held at our home. Whereabouts was that? Is that the ministerial home in Pretoria?
Yes.
And you start by dealing with meetings with the Guptas.
It was not a lot of meetings. I think AJ only came twice to our home.
He came to your home?
Sorry?
You say that AJ came to your home?
Yes.
Right. How many times?
I only remember twice.
And whereabouts, what did he do there?
They had meetings, but it was the two of them in the meeting, so I was not a part of the meeting, but I saw him because I went to greet him.
And whereabouts, in what room were the meetings held?
So the way the house is structured, there's a upstairs, because when I said it was underground, they questioned me. So let me not say it was underground, it was a downstairs. So all of us, we stay upstairs, and when you go down with the steps, there's a room that is under, which Malusi used as his study or meeting room. Yeah, so AJ was there.
Right. And did Mr. Gigaba tell you what he was meeting AJ Gupta about?
I think that time there was some project at ASCOM. It was called Egusile Project. I think that project was giving Malusi a lot of sleepless nights. And then he said, no, AJ was here to give him, they were discussing ASCOM, Egusile, but it didn't give me all the details about it.
So what ESCOM project was giving Mr. Gigaba sleepless nights?
I only remember Egusile Project.
Sorry?
I only remember Egusile Project.
Then you go on to deal with meetings with Mr. Gigaba's staff. Was there a time where his staff visited your home?
It was a ministerial staff. So there's a staff of the department and there's a ministerial staff. So ministerial staff, it's people that he travels with wherever he is, either he goes to Cape Town and he comes back, then there's a department. But most of the time, if it's a ministerial staff, maybe one person will come from the department maybe to brief them if we are traveling on the States. Maybe sometimes it will be the DG, or they will choose whoever is relevant to the trip. So he will come and brief the entire ministerial team.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mape, can I go back to paragraph 29? Did it ever happen that Mr. Gigaba told you that he and Mr. Gupta, Ajay Gupta, were discussing any projects at Transnet?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So they used to talk about maybe renewing contracts. Maybe AJ will ask Malusi, no, there's a project needs to be renewed, or maybe someone needs to sign in certain projects, but I don't know exactly who needs to sign it, but they will talk about it.
Okay. Mr. Maybe.
Thank you. Now, you go on at paragraph, or in 30 and 30.1, you deal with a trip to Mumbai and New Delhi. And what we identified during our consultation, you'll remember, is that there's an error. This is another area where there's an error in the affidavit. Because it says at 30.1, during the last period of Mr. Gigaba's tenure as Deputy Minister of Home Affairs, now that would have been in late 2010. You go on to talk about a trip in 2010 to India. In what year did that trip actually occur?
I said to people who were leading, because you were not there, to people who were leading this part, I said to them, I don't want to say exactly which year because I don't have my passport with me. I remember there was a trip to India, but I don't remember exactly when was it. And then when the affidavit came, it was written this year, and I even mentioned to Sakile that I don't want to be accountable for the year exactly, but I remember we went to India, to Mumbai.
So we know from Mr. Gigaba's affidavit that he says it happened in 2015. Do you accept that now?
If you say so.
Okay. So
Because I don't have my passport. Because on that day, we were talking about this, I said to the commission team, I will go check my passport at home. So what I've done, on my way when I was leaving, where we had the meeting with the commission team, I called his former PA. Then I asked her about my passport, the state passport, because we don't keep those passports with us. And then, because I wanted to know exactly when did we go, then she said she's going to come back to me. By the time I arrived at home, because my passport was there before I left, because I wanted to remember certain trips because we were traveling a lot, because I had 2 separate passports. I have the normal passport, then we have the diplomat passport. So when I got home on that day, after calling his PA, my passport was not there, and my 2 kids' passport was stolen.
all right, so this is a part of your affidavit that I understand you would want to correct
Yes.
in a supplementary affidavit, because it may very well be that the change of the date then has a knock-on effect, as these things often do. But presently, can you remember what happened in India? What was the purpose of this trip?
I don't remember exactly, but what I heard, what Malus was talking about, they were talking about to meet some, the Gupta family members, some people who's gonna assist in working in the Mumbai trip, because there was an airline that they used to talk about when he was at DPE. So there were people need to come working the permits. So most of the time they will talk about the permits of some Gupta family. So I don't know how that was facilitated, because I remember when Malus was saying it's not easy for him to go to India when it's not a state trip, because everyone will question. So then I don't know how it ended up, it was a state trip.
All right. And in India, who did you travel with? Who did Mr. Gigaba travel with?
With his stuff.
Would that have included Mr. Masomi?
Yes.
And you say that they attended various meetings. I didn't see with whom they met, as I was out shopping when they attended the meetings. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then you deal with the Johannesburg-Mumbai flight route. What happened there?
What I know about it, it's when he was still at DPE, they used to talk about the Mumbai route, that I think it was South African airline that they need to cancel, and another route from Mumbai need to take over. So they used to have a lot of discussion about that. That's the only thing I remember.